I don't know, crazy thought. Hello friends, my name is Emily, I'm the Bi, and here is a book off mine and Patches' bookshelf. Hi Patches!
Hello! Social distancing at its finest.
It is... Truly. We're like, we still need to record a video, so I guess like this?
I guess this works. It's fine.
I mean, it does so far. So, anyway, welcome to the Backlist Book Club. This month, or last month, rather. No, I guess this month, because we're still filming this in March. We finished it a little early.
Who knows what day it is? I don't.
Time doesn't exist during self-isolation, it's fine. Anyway, we read Rory Power's Wilder Girls. Isn't it great? I mean, I think it's great. I really love this book. Spoiler alert. Also spoilers, because we're going to talk about the plot, but...
I'm excited to talk about this.
Yeah. So I think you kind of know that I really ended up like absolutely loving this book. I didn't rate it or write anything on Goodreads. I just said that I have read it, which I have decided is the thing that I'm going to do in the same way that I do that with movie reviews, where I'm just like, I watched it, and then when the review comes out, I'm like, all right, now I can rate it. Right. Yeah, this is my like third 5 out of 5 this year.
Ooh.
This was it, man. This was exactly what I wanted it to be.
Good.
And
that's always a good feeling.
Very excited. Yeah, I was like, I hope this is a 5 out of 5, and it was.
So let me ask you, what made this a 5 out of 5 for you? I want to know everything and why this touched you the way it did, I guess.
I had actually been following Rory Power on Twitter for a little while, so I was like kind of familiar with like her writing style-ish, but like hadn't actually read Wilder Girls, which is her first novel. It's a debut, baby! But like I liked the way she was generally writing, and then when I finally got into reading it, I really like her writing style in particular. It does this thing that I really love, which is it is both utilitarian, where it's very like to the point and like exactly what it is, but it's also poetic in a way. We were talking about this before because I read Orpheus Girl, which was written by a woman who is a poet, and I thought it would be more kind of poetically written, but it was just kind of straightforward, which was fine. But this was much more like poetically written while also being to the point and not overly flowery, but like the emotions, baby, they are here. So that's like an element of it. I also really like the body horror aspect. It's definitely the right level of body horror, I think, for me, which is something I like okay in like film and television, but there's that. It's also gay as hell. I also, you know, the ending is ambiguous as hell, and it totally works for me. So there's that. I don't know. How do you feel about this book?
It's interesting that you said that about the ending, because I thought the ending, yes, while ambiguous, it ended on such a positive note to where we assume that everything is going to be okay. They're on at least a better path than they were. I rated this 3 out of 5. I was gonna give it 4 out of 5 strictly because of the chapters where we were in Byatt's point of view. I think that's how you say your name?
Yeah, I think so.
I thought that was so cool. I really enjoyed it, and I didn't realize like her final chapters were actually like her death. I didn't realize, or what we thought was her death, and like I didn't realize like for a second there, like it really worried me, like, oh, is she
it hits you. It hits you. Yeah, I think that shit is good. That shit is good.
Ultimately though, I think there is a certain aspect to this that was missing for me, as far as it's always interesting when it comes to like some sort of post-apocalyptic viral whatever, like even in the situation we're in now, where it's like there's a level of unknown that's scary, but also the known part of it is also terrifying, and this to me was missing the known part of it, if that makes sense. So like there's a science to it in creating a world like this. I mean, but first of all, this being her debut novel was great. I mean, I thought she did a really good job, and I really agree with you on the poetic parts, especially in Byatt's perspective. But there's almost like an additional fear when it comes to the unknown and the known, when it comes to creating your own world with some sort of viral outbreak where there's a quarantine, and in this case there's an island of them, which I really liked, and you know the Navy would drop off food for them, and the CDC was trying to help them find a cure. But I think it was missing. It was almost too ambiguous for me, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. It was almost the scariness of it, as far as like the whatever the TOX talks I guess, was and what it could do to you. It was almost so ambiguous that it was like, it could happen to me. I'm starting to get a fever. Who knows? But it was like, I wish it was more straightforward with what exactly could hurt you. Because it was either life or death, which is fascinating, but I think there was like a line for me that was missing as far as like, what should I fear more? Should I fear, you know, the actual thing that's coming for it, potentially these girls, or should I fear the headmistress? Should I fear Welch? Should I fear the other girls? It was like there was a lot of that going on, but for me it didn't really give me a definitive answer, which ultimately just didn't work for me in the end. This is only 3 stars for me though. I really wanted to hear your take on the gay parts of it though, because I thought okay, so for me, not being a queer woman, I really appreciated the scene where things just were fluid and kind of happened between Hyatt and Reese, and like she was feeling her heartbeat and it was getting really romantic and I was all about it. But like I remember like a couple of pages before she was like, I remember when she came out to me and explained what queer meant, and it was just kind of like, oh, like I wish like that wasn't in there and there was just like a really nice fluid scene. Well, I'm glad they said queer and that is in a novel somewhere. It's great representation, but at the same time it's like, I wish it was just a little more fluid for me. I don't know, how did you feel about that?
Well, first I want to say that the like unknown of the talks, I think actually really works for me. I don't know how you're gonna feel about the ambiguous sci-fi-ness of This Is How We Lose the Time War though. Now having heard you say that, I have no idea how you're gonna feel about that book, because that book is not like set in stone sci-fi. That is like ambiguous as hell, which really works for me, which I think is like part of like these 2 books feel related in a way, kind of, to me. I don't know, I think the queer stuff really works, especially having like followed Rory on not on Instagram, well, I think I do, I don't know, having followed Rory on Twitter and like having heard her both talk about Wilder Girls but also talk about Burn Our Bodies Down, which is her next book, which is also queer, but I don't think it's sci-fi. I think it's like a family drama that has queer stuff in it, maybe. I don't know, I'll tell you. I have a NetGalley copy of it, so I'm so excited. I get to read it early. I'm gonna read it in April. I'm so excited. But yeah, I don't know, I think like the sad queer stuff works for me because it's not like, it's a different kind of sad queer versus like sad queer because can't be gay and everyone is hurting us, but like it's just angst. Like it's angsty gay rather than like actual sad shit. Okay. So that really works for me, and like I think going in I knew that was the case, so like it's not, I wasn't expecting it to be anything else, but I understand kind of if you just know going in that it's gay in some way, then if that's all you're getting and you don't have any other context, then like that kind of makes sense. That makes sense. But I knew going in that Rory Powers is a bitch who loves angsty gay stuff, so I was like, this is gonna be great. Sad. Sad and great. Good. It works for me. Yeah. But I understand if people don't like it. I know people fucking hate the ending of this book so much. People hate it. Really? People, it's a really polarizing ending, which I think is very funny.
I wouldn't suspect that. I didn't think the ending was bad at all. I thought the ending was great. I don't know how else you could have ended it, though, I guess. Like,
my thought exactly. Yeah, that's what's kind of confusing about this book to me, having finally read it. I was pretty sure it had an ambiguous ending just based on like how people talked about it, and I feel like those are often when people have issues with endings, that's usually the thing that it is people are like, well, it was ambiguous and I don't know what to think about it, and I'm like, well, sucks to be you, I guess. Yeah. Like, okay. The ending is so interesting to me because I think, and I said this to you before, but Megan and I were talking about this because Megan actually read this early as a NetGalley book 1,000 years ago before it was published, you know, and she was like, oh my god, this is my kind of weird, you'll like it, etc. So I was like, okay, so I bought a copy of it and didn't read it until now because that's who I am. But we were talking about it, and the ending and the ambiguous nature of the ending, and I think kind of as well going into it, the ambiguous nature of like the talks and like not finding a cure, not having like that kind of thing, I think for a lot of people, it really determines, or like this is a book where you can be like, okay, how I feel about the ending will determine, do I care more about plot or more about characters and like character arcs.
Text that to me.
And I think that for the most part, if you really like the ending, characters are more important. Maybe they're not the most important, or like they're not the only important thing, but like I think the ending is very much like, if you like characters and if character arcs are completed and you feel good about them, then like you like the ending. And if you care more about like the plot and like, are they going to figure out what happened and are they going to get justice or like whatever, then like a lot of those people probably didn't like this ending, because that's more plot stuff than it is character stuff. Sure. I don't know that that's always going to be true, but I think that that's probably a good portion. It's like the John Green thing where you like, what's your favorite John Green book? If it's the first book you read, then you fit into my category.
Right. No, I get it. I think that makes sense, and I guess that means I'm a character driven person, which I feel like I knew. But
Me too.
yeah, the ending was like one of the best parts about this book, in my opinion.
It's so
Not
good.
to shade the rest of it, but I really enjoyed it because, one, Byatt wasn't dead, but it was satisfying to see these female friendships kind of. It's like the only positive outcome in like most of the book, where it's like they're actually going someplace else.
Yeah.
Who knows what they're gonna do, but it just seemed like it ended on the positive note that it needed, basically, is what I'm trying to say. Like, it really felt like it needed some sort of ambiguity to it, because I think at this point, how we see it reacts, especially after Byatt kissed that doctor, which I loved. I thought that was hilarious. She definitely, like, lured his ass in. I mean, seeing it, how it affects everybody, I don't think that necessarily they're going to be safe as people, but it's weird because it's like a positive ending, but at the same time you like think about what happened the rest of the book and you're like, I don't know if they're gonna be okay, but we'll see. Maybe they can get away with it. I don't know. By the way they look, probably not. But I think we already know the outcome, and the ambiguous part is exactly like, or it lies in the idea of like how they would get to that point. I mean, I say it's a positive ending, but the more I think about it, it's like things are not going to end well for these girls, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But
it's fine right
I think
now,
it's just, I mean,
but not probably in the future.
It's good, but it's you got to think about how the rest of the book was and how they were quarantined in the first place, and you know, it's I think you have to end it ambiguously to not only have a discussion about it, but think about the rest of the book and like how everything came to be. Yeah, I love the ending. I didn't have a problem with the ending at all.
Really hammered home that I'm a character hoe, so I thought that was probably true, but like I was like, oh yeah, I really am, huh?
There it is.
Wild. They're girls. Anyway, the one thing that I think plot-wise that like I think works, but like is one of those things where if it were ever to be adapted into a movie, I think it would be a good TV show. But if it were ever to be adapted into a thing, the thing with the bear getting in, while I think that it is a good, we have to fucking go like plot, like chase kind of thing, and like having to figure stuff out very quickly, I also feel like they're kind of meandering around the house for too long almost. Like if it were shot,
that was like 30 pages
it was
of
so
like
long. I was like, I feel like this bear would just fucking kill you guys, but okay. I mean, it's fine, but like that was like truly my only plot. I was like, if we were watching this, we'd be like, how has the bear not gotten in yet? I'm so confused.
Yeah.
That was like my
that
only
makes sense.
like plot thing. I like all the turns of like Welch's character a lot, and like her relationship to Hetty, and like her relationship to all the girls, and like that she's protecting them, and like they kind of know that she's protecting them, but like when Hetty figures out exactly how, and then she thinks she's kind of betraying her, and then she's like, oh wait, no, she like truly is trying to protect
really
us and trying to make us not into experiments. I really like that element, and kind of figuring out people, the sadness of figuring out people after they've died as well, and like the things that they've done for you, that you
like their legacy almost.
Yeah, the things you could have never have known until shit got real. Man, does it get real.
It got real.
So it gets real.
Could you explain the whole plot point of why there were no boys on this island? Could you remind me of exactly what the catch was in that, and why only girls had it?
Well, I don't actually know that they fully explain. I think the idea is just that it's just the two things on the island are like the visitor center and the school, which is an all-girls boarding school, and then the only guy who's really on the island is Riza's dad, and he's like the groundskeeper of the island and of the school. It just happens to be like this. And then even though I can't remember if they ever saw something happen to Riza's dad, which I think they probably didn't, which is why Byatt doesn't maybe think that anything happens to guys, because like she's obviously never seen anything happen to guys.
Yeah.
Because it's like the tox doesn't really affect, because it's like hormonally based. And so like it affects people with estrogen, and if they don't, or if they have like whatever, like either testosterone or like a lack of something, it either makes them go completely feral, whatever, or it just doesn't affect them as hard, I think, if they're like missing, because Welch is on birth control when they first start doing things, and then the headmistress is going through menopause, and then all the girls are the girls. So. Right.
Yeah, we don't see what happens to Reese's dad. We just see like the aftermath of like what he's become.
Yeah, and I don't know.
That was a rough scene.
Yeah. Well, and I don't know if the girls actually, I can't remember if Hetty says that they saw him, like something happened to him or not, or if it's just like he went into the woods and we never saw him again until obviously they fucking see him again. But yeah, I really like the dynamic of I killed what was left of your dad and now we have to figure out what our relationship is like because you're very upset.
Does this affect our relationship at all? Yeah.
We love that angst. We love it. Yeah, love that. It's really good. Really like emotionally powerful stuff to kind of be dealing with. For sure. Yeah,
I recommend this definitely to people who enjoy strong female pro tags, as your shirt says. I definitely recommend it to people who enjoy that sort of story and really enjoy ambiguity as far as, you know, like a science goes. I think this is a really fascinating story, but to me, ultimately, it was just fine. It just didn't go to places that I wanted it to, and I don't really know what's to blame for that, because at the same time, I'm like, yeah, I like the ambiguity, but also didn't like it in the end, but not like the ending, but like, the more I thought about it, I'm like, this is almost too ambiguous, so I'm just so back and forth with it, and I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna give it a solid 3. We're gonna stop it at 3, because I'll be sitting here all day thinking about it, which is a good thing. I do like when books make you think. But
yeah, I'm interested to read Burn Our Bodies Down and kind of report back whether I think you'll like that more, because I think that's more contemporary. So there's not like the missing sci-fi explanation element, but you know, if you like her writing, then like maybe you'll like Burn Our Bodies Down when it comes out. I'll let you know. And then she's also
family drama.
And then she's also writing, she actually just announced that she's writing a queer fantasy in 2021. Very excited. She's our genre queen. She's just going all over the place. I love her. But yeah, so that's essentially Wilder Girls. So we did Wilder Girls because I wanted to do something easier to read, so we did YA, even though it's still horror. Also, be careful reading this in the middle of the pandemic that we're in. It's like a viral thing, so like, be careful with that. Anyway, just for your own mental health. This is fine for me, but you know, whatever. So I decided, since, you know, we're in the middle of that pandemic and stuff, and while I loved that book very, very much, I was like, let's really do something softer and more lighthearted. So now, for April, we're going to read Becky Albertalli and Adam Silvero's What If It's Us. I'm so excited. This is a queer rom-com set in the middle of a summer in New York, and it's about 2 boys who I think meet at a post office. That's all I know.
That's really all they give you.
I mean, yeah, basically. One of them is like just got out of a relationship and I think doesn't really want to like try to be in anything, and one of them is like a romantic, so you got that dynamic going on, I think. I'm very excited. It's kind of chunky, but it's also a young adult rom-com, so I think it's gonna move really fast. I have read one Becky Albertalli book before, which is Simon versus the Homo Sapiens Agenda, the book that Love, Simon is based off of, and her writing moves really fast, so I'm excited.
And we have a lot of time.
We truly do. So much time. So join us as we read What If It's Us, and enjoy a little queer escapism, please.